EV sales are declining, and it's not just about a lack of gas station fumes to sniff anymore. So, what's going on? Is the dream of zero-emission future stalling, or are there hidden forces at play? In this video, we will examine the hidden factors behind the slowdown in EV sales. So, without much ado, let's get right in. One big reason is that many people aren't unfamiliar with these whiz-bang machines. Automakers shot themselves in the foot at the start by pitching EVs as electric versions of regular old gas guzzlers. But in reality, they compare a bicycle to a motorcycle. EVs are a whole different thing. They're simpler to make, packed with fancy tech, and need less TLC than your average gas car. But not everyone gets that. People scratch their heads over the difference between EVs and their gas-guzzling cousins, especially when they see the higher price tag up front. EVs are like the futuristic siblings of traditional cars. They run on electricity instead of gas, which means no more trips to the pump. And maintenance? Forget about it. EVs need way less attention under the hood. But a lot of people just don't realize all of this. They still think EVs are just fancy versions of the cars they know and love. Another roadblock is the cost. Sure, EVs might seem pricier at first glance, but they save you moolah in the long run. With fewer moving parts and less stuff to break down, EVs can last longer and cost less. But not everyone sees it that way. They get shocked when they see the price tag and think, why pay more for something I don't get? There is a limited lineup of budget-friendly options. Don't get us wrong, there are some amazing electric cars out there, but many come with a price tag that could rival a small spaceship. This lack of affordable options is definitely throwing a wrench into the whole everyone zipping around in EVs plan. But what does it mean? Let's understand this. When it comes to car shopping, affordability is a major factor. Sure, the idea of a silent emission-free ride is enticing, but if it means emptying your savings account, that futuristic thrill fades faster than a phone battery in the cold. This limited selection puts potential EV buyers in a bind. They're stuck between wanting to do their part for the environment and keeping a roof over their heads. According to the Department of Transportation, the average Joe or Jane in the United States clocks in about 37 miles behind the wheel every day. And guess what? Today's EVs have got that covered with ease. Back in 2010, EVs could only manage around 80 miles on a full charge. But fast forward to 2024, and we're talking over 220 miles on average. That's quite the leap. In fact, most EVs nowadays can cruise around 250 miles on a single charge, with some featuring an impressive 500-mile range. But even with all these advancements, people are still sweating over range. Why? We've all gotten way used to the gas station safety net. Every corner seems to have one, offering a quick refuel and a chance to grab a questionable hot dog. EVs, however, don't have that luxury yet. The charging network is still patchy, especially outside of urban areas. Compared to filling up a gas tank, which takes minutes, charging an EV can take significantly longer, depending on the charger type. It can be a deal breaker for busy people who don't have hours to spare waiting for their car to juice up. Moreover, finding a gas station is as difficult as spotting a pigeon in a park. Finding a charging station, however, can feel like a scavenger hunt gone wrong. Many charging apps exist, but their accuracy can be spotty, and the availability of chargers can change in a heartbeat. And while charging networks are getting better in big cities, they are still not very good in rural places. People who don't live in cities will have a hard time with this. They might love the idea of an electric vehicle, EV, but it's not a good choice because charging stations are hard to find. While government incentives help, the upfront cost of many EVs can still be a significant hurdle for many consumers. Early adopters like Tesla set the bar high and expensive for EVs. While these luxury models boast cutting-edge technology and futuristic features, they also come with a price tag that could rival a small yacht. This initial perception of EVs being rich people cars is stuck, discouraging potential buyers who wouldn't dream of dropping a small fortune on a car, even if it does hug trees. Some automakers have fallen into the more is more trap, packing their EVs with every bell and whistle imaginable. Sure, self-driving features and heated vegan leather seats are cool, but they also drive up the cost. For many consumers, a simpler, more affordable EV that prioritizes core functionality over fancy gadgets would be a much more attractive option. The heart of an EV, the battery pack, is a complex and often expensive piece of technology. While battery costs are decreasing, they still represent a significant portion of the overall vehicle cost. This means a higher price tag for consumers who might be hesitant to invest in a car, where a single component can significantly impact their wallet. Moreover, As with any new technology, there's often a premium attached. EVs are still relatively new players in the automotive game, and manufacturers might be factoring in a bit of the new tech stack into the price. It discourages budget-conscious consumers who might be inclined to opt for a tried-and-true gasoline-powered vehicle with a lower upfront cost. Interest rates are also shooting up like rockets, and you've got a recipe for sluggish vehicle sales across the board. But EVs are feeling the squeeze even more than their combustion engine buddies. You see, the thing about EVs is that they tend to cost more upfront than a similar gas-powered ride. And with interest rates climbing, people are thinking twice before splurging on a shiny new electric whip. The competition in the EV industry is heating up faster than a Tesla on a drag strip. Traditional car makers are no longer content to watch from the sidelines. They're throwing their hats and billions of dollars into the EV ring, and it's shaking things up for both consumers and early EV leaders. Let's discuss why the influx of traditional automakers is causing a decline in EV sales. Early EV leaders were offering a unique, albeit expensive option. Now, traditional car makers are churning out EVs with features and styles that appeal to a broader audience. This dilutes the exclusive factor that initially attracted some early adopters. Suddenly, that cutting-edge EV you bought feels less special when a similar and maybe even more affordable option is parked next to it at the grocery store. And suddenly, consumers are bombarded with a dizzying array of EVs. From established brands they trust to new startups promising next-gen tech, the decision fatigue is real. It can lead to analysis paralysis, with potential buyers getting overwhelmed by options and delaying their purchase altogether. Traditional car makers are known for their aggressive pricing strategies. While not a full-blown price war yet, their entry into the EV market injects a healthy dose of competition. It puts pressure on early EV leaders who might have enjoyed higher margins due to limited competition. The potential for lower prices in the future incentivizes some buyers to wait and see before pulling the trigger on an EV purchase now. And with so many new players entering the game, some potential buyers are adopting a cautious approach. They want to see how these EVs perform regarding reliability, range, and long-term ownership costs before taking the plunge. This wait-and-see mentality contributes to the decline in sales growth, at least in the short term. Like with any new tech, the first people to jump on board were the high rollers, the tech geeks, and the eco-conscious crowd. They were the ones who couldn't wait to get their hands on the latest and greatest in green transportation. But that's just a slice of the pie. Most people aren't rushing to switch to electric just yet, and that's totally normal. EVs have mainly attracted a certain type of buyer so far. We're talking about the well-off, the gadget enthusiasts, and the tree huggers. They're the ones leading the charge towards a greener future. But that's only a small fraction of the market. To really kick things into high gear, automakers need to reach a broader audience. Now, the reason for the decline in electric vehicle EV sales isn't that early adopters have been fulfilled. Rather, it's because the market hasn't yet reached beyond those initial enthusiasts. Why? Well, mainly because the options out there aren't hitting the sweet spot for affordability and practicality. Sure, EVs are cool and all, but if they're out of reach for the average people, they're not going to make a dent in the market. It means engineering more affordable EVs that can appeal to the everyday Joe and Jane. We're talking entry-level models that won't break the bank and can go toe-to-toe with their gas-guzzling counterparts. Because not everyone can drop big bucks on a fancy electric ride. But if automakers can make EVs more accessible to the masses, we could see a whole lot more folks hopping on the electric bandwagon. That's all for today's video. Share your thoughts on this with us in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe.